Let's redraft the first round for the second half of the season. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Tuesday, July 15th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White. We are going to alternate picks here, redrafting the first round for the second half of the season. And Scott, I'm feeling nice. I'll give you the first pick.
All right. Easy first pick. I feel like it's kind of crazy how much Aaron Judge has separated himself from everybody else, including a pretty obvious number two. And the main reason why, he's become an even bigger outlier for batting average, Aaron Judge, than home runs. And that's really saying something, given that he is a historic home run hitter. Most home runs in a season for somebody without steroids ties. But yeah, he's hitting 355. I don't know that he can hit 355 in the second half, but he's going to hit. I trust him to hit for a really high batting average and keep producing that power.
Mm-hmm. Well, the second pick, I think, is a pretty obvious one as well. Going with Shohei Ohtani here, who is currently on pace for 53 homers, 151 runs scored, 100 RBI, and 20 steals. I will point out that the steal pace has dropped down precipitously since he started pitching again. But I would still expect something like, 6 to 8 steals the rest of the way. Maybe he gets up to 10, something like that. But still, great power, great run scored, awesome lineup. And I think the batting average could get a little bit better as well. All right, Scott, you're up with the third pick.
So there are about 5 players in the discussion to go third overall, but I'm going to go with the chalk pick. I feel like Bobby Witt. So this is the same top 3, maybe in a different order as was commonplace at the start of the year. Bobby Witt's, of the 3, the one who has maybe underperformed the most, but surged into the break, 343 batting average, 6 home runs, 4 steals in his last 26 games. And I think that's going to launch him into a big second half. I don't see any data points that lead me to believe he's any less than the player we thought he was coming into the year. Just the power production has lagged until very recently, but I think he's going to do great.
All right, the fourth pick, I think there is some debate here. As you mentioned, you could go with a few different names, but I'm going to take Ronald Acuna, who, since returning, is batting .323 with 12 homers, 39 runs scored, and 4 steals in 45 games. Hoping that he steals more throughout the second half. I do think, he will start to up that steal pace a little bit, but even without it, he's hitting for a great batting average. He's launching home runs. Now moving down into the middle of the Braves lineup, should help the RBI total a little bit as well. But yes, I will take Acuna 4th overall. Scott, back to you for the 5th pick.
So Jose Ramirez is the 5th pick, and I think he has a very strong case to be the number 3 pick. In fact, maybe most people would want him there, but that's partly because he ended the first half at his absolute hottest. His final 10 games before the break, 5 home runs and 8 steals.
I think he had a steal in 7 straight going into the break.
Yeah, he was on fire. And it's kind of inflated his pace beyond, he's on pace for over 50 steals now. His career high is 41, which he set last year. I don't think he's going to quite maintain that. And the runs and RBIs are lagging because the Guardians lineup is so bad. I'm mostly explaining why I don't have Jose Ramirez 3rd, but 5th, I'll still take him 5th.
All right, the 6th pick, again, it's another very close one for me, but I'm going to take Elly De La Cruz here, who, while the steals have come down this season, he has improved in basically every other way possible here. He's lowered the strikeout rate. The expected stats have improved. He's hitting the ball hard. Barrel rate is there. On pace for 30 homers, 121 runs scored, 42 steals for Elly De La Cruz. We'll point out that he's probably lower than this in a points league, but if we're just talking roto categories, I do think he's in this discussion as a top 7 player rest of season. Let's take a quick break. When we return, Scott, you will be back up with the 7th pick right after this.
They want to take this place from us. My family is in danger. My wife is lost to me, and I don't have time.
1923, new season now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back in FBT Express, redrafting the first round for the second half. And Scott, you are up 7th overall.
7th overall is for me, the last one that I considered as a top 3 pick for that third spot. And actually, Kyle Tucker is my number 3 player in a points league because of the near 1-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. But for Roto, I landed on him at 7th. Not for any great reason. Like, I feel like he's a very safe in all 5 hitting categories, but he's not going to carry you in a category maybe the way some of the 4 ahead of him here could. So 7th is as high as I was able to get Kyle Tucker, mostly just because some tough competition there ahead of him.
All right, 8th overall pick. I think it's wide open here, and for that reason, I am going to settle on the best pitcher in baseball, and that is Tarik Skubal, who is coming off his AL Cy Young Award season and has just gotten better. The strikeouts are up, the walks are down, the swinging strike rate is a ridiculous 17%. There's no question that he has been the best, the most consistent starting pitcher in baseball, and thus he is the 8th overall pick. Scott, you are up at 9th overall.
So I think you dipped into starting pitcher a little early there. I hate to separate Skubal and Zach Wheeler because I think they're about the same for fantasy, but I'm going to do that because I'm going to take an outfielder instead. I'm actually going to take Corbin Carroll, who there are others who we haven't mentioned yet who've outperformed him in the first half, but I actually think this is a fairly conservative ranking for Carroll when you consider that he is a far more capable base stealer than he's been so far this year. Like, one of the fastest players in baseball, clearly. He's stolen only 11 bases. That's going to have to fix itself in the second half. He has also underperformed his expected batting average by 25 points or so. So I expect improvement in batting average, improvement in steals, and the home run gains for Carroll, I think they're pretty durable because he's hitting the ball so much harder on average than he has in previous years. There is the fact he's coming back from that chip fracture in his wrist, but I trust that he's healthy now, that the Diamondbacks didn't bring him back earlier than he was ready for. And yeah, like I said, I think we're more likely to see improvement from Carroll than a decline in the second half.
Scott, you just mentioned that Tarik Skubal and Zach Wheeler should probably go back-to-back. Well, one pick apart, not so bad. I'm going to take Zach Wheeler here at 10th overall, who at age 35 is maybe the best version of Zach Wheeler that we have ever seen here. He's got a 2.36 ERA, a .86 whip, career high 11.4 K per 9, career best 2.37 xERA, and Wheeler and Skubal, the only 2 pitchers averaging over 20 fantasy points per game this season. They are in a category of their own. So I will take Wheeler 10th overall, and Scott, you have the 11th pick.
Yeah, I feel like you gave me a gift here with Juan Soto, who, hopefully we're past that seemingly annual panic that happens over Juan Soto because he isn't the best hitter in the world every second of the season. He kind of has been since the start of June. Juan Soto's slash line is 311, 455, 659. Which sounds ridiculous, but that's pretty much right in line with his expected stats for the season. So for him, it's not so ridiculous, and it may just be who Juan Soto is the rest of the way. He's also gotten back to stealing base. He's kind of stealing bases better than he ever has here in his first year with the Mets. So I don't necessarily count on him for that, but it makes it all the easier to draft him here if that does remain part of Juan Soto's profile. And I will note, I'm taking him 11th here in Roto, he would be my 4th pick in head-to-head points.
All right, the 12th and final pick here, redrafting the first round for the second half. Flip a coin between 2 young studs, whoever you want here. James Wood, Pete Crow Armstrong. I'm going to take James Wood, but I don't really think that there is a wrong answer. James Wood living up to all the hype this season as a 22-year-old, 24 homers, 12 steals. He's on pace to go 40-20 this season with 120 RBI. He's lowered the strikeout rate a little bit, batting average around 270, 280. I think that's totally fine, totally doable for James Wood, who really is just scratching the surface. Again, if you want PCA here, I think that's totally fine as well. And if you want to hear or read about the second round, Scott has an article on the site where he did redraft both of the first 2 rounds, and we actually did the same thing on our full-length podcast. So make sure to check that out. And for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, you can listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again on Thursday. Bye-bye.